Have you ever been in this situation? You're at a new job. First day, the office kitchen. Someone cheerfully asks, "Want a coffee?" And even though your soul is quietly screaming, "No, I'd rather gargle battery acid than sip that bitter mud," you smile, nod, and say, "Sure, but why?" Is coffee really the social glue we think it is? Or is it the biggest collective lie of modern society? When I was in college, I used to carry a coffee cup around campus. But here's the twist. It was empty. Yeah, empty. Why? Because I wanted to look busy. Important. Like I had my life together. I often see old men empty 3 sachets of coffee into half a cup of tea. And when I try to practically do the same, my lord, that thing is sour. It tastes like when you bite a whole battery. Like seriously, who in the world drinks this sludge on purpose? Hey, this is another episode of Brimful WHYs, and today we unravel where this coffee culture brainwash even began. Why does coffee taste bitter? And why do we keep forcing ourselves to like it? Stay with me now. In the last few centuries, coffee didn't just become a drink. It became a symbol, a ritual, a ticket into social belonging. Back in the day, people weren't at coffee houses for the flavor. Believe it or not, they were there to be seen. This thing where you walk into a meeting with a big mug of coffee, and everyone is just there staring at you, wondering how much you got it for, and all other kind of intrusive thoughts like, what if you just licked the cup after you finished? This just tells you that coffee isn't about drinking. It's about belonging. When we push through that bitterness and survive, our brain rewires itself to think, maybe bitter things mean I'm tough. And coffee companies, they know this. They market bitterness not as a flaw, but as a feature. A badge of adulting. If you can handle the bitterness, you must be strong. You must be disciplined. That's what they are trying to convince you. And then you're thinking, I must be superior. I once tried giving a group of hardcore coffee fans a cup of smooth, non-bitter coffee. You know what they said? This tastes weak. Not light, not smooth. Weak. I wonder if they would still drink coffee if no one was watching. If you're enjoying this so far, drop a like to inspire the algorithm push my next Why video, why gaming streamers get richer than game developers. And later in this video, I'll reveal how one study used peer pressure to make people rate cheap, burnt coffee as premium. And don't forget to tell me in the comments if you have ever choked down a nasty cup of coffee just because everyone else seemed to love it. No shame. We've all been there. And guys, thanks for your support. It means the world to me. You see, there's a gene called TAS2R38. It's the code for a bitterness receptor on your tongue. And depending on which version of this gene you got from your parents, you could be a super taster or a meh whatever taster. This explains why some people sip black coffee like it's liquid gold, while you can't stand even the smell. You might be wondering, but what's with this coffee you're yapping about? See, when you drink coffee, caffeine blocks a molecule in your brain called adenosine. Adenosine is the sleepy state molecule. When adenosine gets blocked, your brain releases dopamine, the pleasure chemical, the motivation rocket fuel. This, my valued viewer, makes coffee the king of the corporate world, and tea, the soft option. Or if I put it in other words, tea becomes the weaker sibling to coffee. Get me well here, caffeine does give you a buzz, but a massive part of that buzz, it's in your head. Literally. One study gave people fake coffee. No caffeine. Guess what happened? They still felt energized. Still talked faster. Still stayed up late. If I asked you, when did coffee stop being just a drink and become a personality? What would you respond? See, my friend, in this era of selfies, hashtags, and TikTok, coffee isn't just about caffeine. It's about what your cup says about you. A black coffee? You're serious. Minimalist. Hardcore. An oat milk latte? Trendy. Health conscious. Instagram ready. Iced oat milk latte? Trendy, but health conscious. Pumpkin spice latte? Playful. Maybe a little basic, but proudly so. We don't just drink coffee. We wear it. I once met someone off of Tinder whose dating profile had coffee pictures, cafe shots, holding the mug, frothy close-ups. When the time was right, I asked, was it about the coffee, or was it about crafting an identity? And this barely 19-year-old hits me with, I don't even drink coffee, but the mug made my hand look delicate. So this all winds down to, the cup is practically a fashion accessory, right? I have also realized that there's a fine line between being a coffee lover and being a coffee snob. And most of us, we've crossed it without even realizing. Because when you start judging others for how they take their coffee, like I will be doing in this video, when you start memorizing bean origins just to flex, when you roll your eyes at anyone who says, "Can I get extra caramel?" Yeah, you might be deep in snob territory, my brother. I once heard someone say, "If it's not Ethiopian Yirgacheffe, it's basically mud." Bro, chill. Alright, and now for the coffee lovers who continue to feel validated, recognized, approved, whatever. The more this video continues, caffeine doesn't just block sleepiness. It ramps up your stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. Let's get real about this, no more fluff. You know the drill. You slam that cup of coffee. You feel like a superhero. Fast forward 3 hours. You're irritable, foggy, drained. That's because when your immune system finally wears off caffeine, your body suddenly realizes how tired it actually is. But hang on, because later in this same video, I'll reveal the unexpected caffeine timing hack that can flatten the crash without quitting your morning ritual, no cap. Moving on, we have also seen some benefits associated with that bean water people take to feel important for once. For instance, at parties. Be right back, I need a coffee means I need a moment to breathe. At the workplace, let's grab a coffee could mean let's escape this awkward silence in style. Coffee wasn't the point here. Escape was, oh, and I almost forgot. At her place, I brought you your favorite latte could mean you've been upgraded to the premium cuddles. Have you ever thought about why everyone nowadays just grabs a cup of coffee and sits alone to scroll passively? Well, it is one way people can avoid each other while still feeling social. If you've ever used coffee as a fake excuse to avoid people, drop a mugscape in the comments. I once worked at a place where the CEO judged people by their coffee orders. Double shot black? Serious player. Caramel macchiato? Maybe not leadership material. Yeah, wild. In offices, coffee, like we said earlier, is about being seen. It's the accessory that says, I'm working hard, even if you're actually doom scrolling behind that laptop. Fun fact, I once sat through an entire meeting with a cup of coffee I never touched. Just held it like a shield. No one noticed. You can fake the sip, hold the mug, smile like it's the best thing ever. And no one will call you out. By the way, did you know? Companies use free coffee not just as a perk, but as a control mechanism to get you grinding even more. Coffee keeps employees alert, yes, but it also keeps them compliant. It creates an illusion of care while subtly nudging people to self-regulate, skip real breaks, and hustle harder. It's not about flavor. It is about flow. I understand you might be starting to get tired of this clip, so I will end it with this question that nobody dares to sip on. Do you actually like coffee? Or do you like the ritual, the vibe, the identity boost, the peer pressure release? Because most people, they've never paused to separate the drink from the experience. Like this video has illustrated, to them, it's not about the taste. It's about belonging. It's about not wanting to be the one who says no thanks. It's about fitting in, avoiding awkwardness, playing along, you know. Coffee has become a shortcut to acceptance, a safety blanket. Thanks for brewing this journey with me. See you beyond the mug. And be sure to check out our next episode. Why do border disputes last for centuries?